Well, that's it, guys. Take a look at that. What's up, guys? JP here with JP Stream Performance. Back on my 2016 Jag F-Type R. We are going to be installing a Vehicle Revolutions Project 7 front grille. Getting rid of that horrendous push bar, or sorry, bumper bar there in the front of the grille. I've kind of stalked the Jaguar forums, and you know, there's a lot of negativity about the Vehicle Revolutions grille. I've read some good stuff, I've read some bad stuff. We have put on the Vehicle Revolution Project 7 style rear diffuser, and with the overall fitment, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, there's a few little, you know, small gaps, but they don't look bad, really. But I mean, everything lines up really nice. I did end up putting my own screw in each corner, and then I used a beveled screw down here to link these two plates together. But other than that, all the clips, they were kind of hard to get in, but once they went in, everything fit actually relatively really nice. So again, I've had good luck with the rear diffuser, so we're going to try their front grille. I'll post the video up of the rear diffuser install. It's kind of a crappy video, I just kind of threw it together, but I want to show you how this grille came packaged. It came packaged in a fully wood crate, which is pretty awesome. So here is the grille itself. It's got a really nice finish. There's no blemishes anywhere. I got my fingerprints on there. I did pick up a black Jaguar logo from Amazon. I haven't decided if I want to go all black or put the factory red and chrome one back in, but I'm thinking I'm going to go all black because that looks pretty mean. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this front clip yanked off of the car, and then we'll start to get the grille out of there. I did have to pick up some bonding agent. Vehicle Revolution contacted me and said they recommend using a bonding agent around the ring. So I ended up picking up some pretty good stuff. The glass weld, because it's a urethane base, so it does have a little bit of flex, but it's as strong as concrete. So we're going to use this for our sealant on that and get this video started. Thanks, guys. It's been a hot minute since I've had this front clip off. Probably, I think I put the splitter on a year or so ago. So if I remember correctly, we're going to have all your inner fender liner bolts, they're Torx bits. Inside of here, you'll have these two. Hopefully I can get those. You have these two, and then all your bolts along the front. Same thing on this side, these two, and then your fender liner bolts there. We're gonna get all those off and then see what else we need to take off. I don't remember if there's much more than that, but we'll put this on time lapse. I just wanted to show you guys where those bolts are. And then if we come across, I know there are some on the bottom, so when we get to that point, we'll slow down to show you guys which ones to take off there. Okay, there's actually 5 per side. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there'll be 5 per side on the inner fender liner. Okay, for underneath, I believe, if I remember correctly, we only need to take out at the end of the splash guard these bolts here. As you see, that's all disconnected now on both sides. So we'll get these 10s out. There's 4 of them, and then we'll go to the top. I knew there was some more. They're hidden back up in there. So here's the those back 4 we just pulled, and then if you go to the front, there's going to be those Torx bits right in there. 2, 3, 4 of them total. We'll get those out now. You got 8 bolts total from underneath. We already pulled these 2 out. So now we're going to pull out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the front. These 2 are already out. And we should be able to slide this whole nose off the front. Now, something to be aware of is you are going to have your parking sensors, or your collision sensors, I should say, wiring harness that you're going to need to disconnect. So be very careful pulling this forward. We'll go ahead and yank this off and pull this forward and see if we can get to that harness. Okay, so now is definitely the time to clean out. These are notorious for collecting leaves and debris on this lower cooler here. It runs horizontal, so we'll take this cover off. We're gonna vacuum all of ours out. We do have a performance charge cooler from Paramount to replace this charge cooler. However, we are gonna do a huge video on upgrading the entire cooling system on this with all aluminum parts, get rid of all the plastic. There's some kits on eBay, plus through Jaguar themselves, get rid of the plastic Y-pipe, get rid of all the plastic fittings, plastic thermostat housing, all that, and switch it all over to aluminum. And so we're gonna do that all at once. So we'll end up pulling this front clip off again later on, but we're gonna upgrade the whole cooling system of the car, get rid of all the weak points, because we plan on doing the new Velocity AP 2.3 liter supercharger. So we're saving up for that currently, with the methanol injection and everything. So that is to come probably in a year, between how much I have to save up and all the other stuff I have planned. Still want to lower this thing, yada, yada, yada. The Maxton Design front splitter, while it's a great looking splitter, I want carbon fiber. So we're going to take some measurements. We may end up making our own out of some composite, or looking for a universal one that's close to this size. I'd like to go a little bit bigger, maybe from APR or something like that, and just fabricate it up to mount underneath with some new rods and stuff like that. But for now, that is it. That is how you get the front clip off. The only thing to be aware of, and I almost forgot, it's not that big a deal. It tucked back here, but there is your washer fluid line that is plugged in on the passenger side, and the only thing to unplug on the driver's side is your big green harness here. There's one plug. You're just gonna, it's kind of tough, but you got to push pretty hard right here. Just push real hard and pull at the same time, so you'll need 2 hands. But that goes to all your sensors. So all right, so next is figuring out how this original surround comes out. We need to unplug our harness here. So we need to unplug that. The Type R badge won't fit on the new Grille. I mean, I probably can mock it up to fit, but we're not going to worry about this thing. We got all our badges blacked out on this thing. But looking at this, you're going to have a gazillion bolts all the way around. Be cognizant of these hoses up here, but we'll start pulling off all these bolts and see how cumbersome this is going to be to get this grill out. Guest appearance. Sup, dude? Sup, dude? All right. So on this, I'm gonna have to end up separating this top half from the bumper bar there. There's little slits here. You're gonna just flat screwdriver, whatever, pry them open to pop them out. Then there's ones down here that I need to do. So we're gonna get those off. And then this piece, because of all this extra trim, wouldn't slide out. So we'll separate this piece from all of this, and then we'll get the bottom section out separate. All right, those little tabs are what I was talking about. They are a pain in the butt. So you got to really work with them. I think one or two broke on mine. I don't really care, but something to be aware of. Need to separate the bottom one. You can kind of stretch this over, but you should get it down to where it'll lean forward and come out. There's your factory grill. All right, next we are going to get rid of the foam padding. Just get yourself a pry bar or anything, or one of these tools to pop those clips out on each side. There you go. So we're gonna clean our crash bar up. Ours is actually, because the car is dark gray, is almost black already, but we are gonna reshoot it black just to make it glossy and cleaned up back there. Okay, while we're cleaning this up, like I said, now is a good time. I mean, I don't know if you can see inside there, but there's a ton of gunk. So there's 3 8mm. 1, 2, 3. You'll need to pop this little hose clip up. And there's those 3 on that side. You can get this air dam out of the way, and then we can get all the junk that is wedged at the back of the air dam plugging up our quill. Okay, so don't need to pull those back ones out. Apparently this bracket doesn't come out without removing a bunch of stuff, but when you remove these two, you can slide your cooler forward a bit. This hose, you got to kind of work around, but I pulled mine out and then was able to get a vacuum down and get all the grime off the very back. This was plugged full of leaves and dirt, so now we can push this all back in, put those bolts back in, and that's all clean. Okay, so I ran a real thin drill bit, smaller than the bolt size, just kind of to clean up all the holes. And then I'm using one screw to pre-tap all the holes so the screws will actually thread. Okay, so the biggest thing is to get one of your bolts started with the grill kind of like this. And then we're gonna bring this side around. It's gonna put some pressure on that screw, so you gotta be careful, but we're gonna make sure this doesn't get snagged. We'll bring the grill around and then start that other top corner. Well, that little tab broke off on the bottom one, so that sucks. But so far the top two are in. I have no bonding And the grill actually is fitting pretty good. It's got a lot of tension on it, but once I add some extra bolts, luckily where that one broke, I can, it's on the bottom side, so hopefully I can figure out a way to make something else work for that. But we're gonna go ahead and get the rest of these in. But if you look, shape-wise, we still got to suck in the sides, but it's looking pretty good. Quick side note, the reason that one broke is the bolt bottomed out in the plastic housing and then snapped the housing. So what I did is I put a piece of electrical tape, the exact length of the bolts. So I'm making sure that each one of those holes will allow for the entire length of the bolt, which is actually giving us a lot more bite. And you can see it's looking pretty dang good so far. So, a little bit of gap. We can fill that. Not a big deal. Use some sealant to fill that. But for the most part, this thing is fitting actually relatively really nicely. Here is overall fitment so far. I was able to get that broken bolt out, and there was still enough to get a good bite. This is the little gap we have on the sides. Tops look really good. Very, very minor gap. I mean, it's so tiny. But this side is worse, the driver's side. I look in the factory bumper is catching right on the inside of here, so it's holding it out. I am going to take all this back out and use my Dremel and shave the factory bumper. I don't know if you can get in there and see. There you go. See that little tab? Kind of looks like a reflection. That tab is what's holding up and pushing this inward. So I'm going to take the grill back out one more time, shave down that side and that side, and replace it in there. And I think fitment wise I'll be pretty happy with that. I'll may put a little seam sealer in here, but we'll see. Okay, got the grill yanked back off. So where the factory little bumper bar was, where it flares out on both sides is where it's catching on that grill, holding that grill out. So we're gonna take the Dremel, we're gonna go ahead and cut this back all the way off. Just get rid of it on both sides. All right, notch those out on both sides. So we're gonna try fitment again. Okay, there you guys have it. It is pretty damn flush all the way around, even with that one bolt. That one bolt re-broke again, but that's okay. But there is no major gaps anywhere. So it does kind of pull up here, but you don't really notice it. The old Grille used to wrap over this a little more. That's why it's a little dirty. But honestly, it's even, so it doesn't look bad at all. Now we're going to figure out how to mount our sensors. For us, we made note that they came out at a perfect 90 degrees. So we want to mount them in here. And then we'll probably figure out some kind of either glue them in or strap them in or whatever. But we need to clearance these holes a bit. They're a little small, so we want to make sure the whole sensor goes through. So we'll clearance these two holes out. Here's the back of it. Again, that bolt ended up breaking off the rest of the way, but it's fine. This thing's solid. I don't even know if I'm going to put any... They said to use sealer. I mean, short of just like pumping some into these crevices, maybe, just for some extra bond. But from the front side, I think it looks really good, so we'll see. I didn't realize there was just a rubber seal. So these are actually, they actually fit already. So there's just a rubber seal. You got to kind of push them in. So didn't have to drill anything out on those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this little square cutout there. And I made some 16 gauge, had some 16 gauge scrap lying around. That will sit right in that square and will hold these down so they can't pop off. And then I'm going to put a screw through here, through the front. I have some already black, they call them fender screws or fender washers. So they're already painted black. So you will see very, very, very little bit of a screw way down here. But really, with how low the car is, you really won't see them because this octagon, or not octagon, but whatever shape this is hanging over, so you won't really see the screw right there. But these will be able to tighten down and pull against the back side of those sensors, keeping them in place. And then because they're cut out like a square, this can't rotate because that square will keep this from rotating. So it should just keep equal pressure on the back of that sensor. And then worst case, if they start to pop out, we can bend this in more or put a spacer or a washer or something behind it. So we'll get that going now. We're gonna drill a small hole in these, and then we'll drill the hole in the bumper, put the screw in. All right, I think that worked beautifully. I'm gonna get close. So this is at eye level, basically. You can see the black screw there, one there, but you don't really notice it anywhere looking down at the car, because like I said, this edge hangs over the screw. They are super secure. Go back here. Kind of an easy concept, but there you go. Those trim screws are self tappers, but you can see how it's locked in this square, so it cannot rotate up or down. This thing, you could tug on it all you want, just flexes the grill. So those aren't going to come out, and we can always bend this more if we need to, but here's the other side. Again, perfect. It's all the way in. And there you go. 2 parking sensors. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pop probably this harness off. We're going to run this harness Down in this section, so we'll need to remove these supports. I think we'll have enough slack if we take these off on both ends, and then we'll drop this harness down, and then that way we just have this thin harness behind the grill. All right, put the harness, pop the clips off, put the harness behind this one, but over that one because it was wanting to rotate our sensor here, so we want to make sure those, like I said, are at a good 90 degrees. So, but from the front side, especially up against all the black that the car has, you really won't see the harness now. It's a little bit down in the lower corner, but you really can't see that harness. And you can only see that little small section. Not that the car needed it, because basically all the frame stuff is a very dark gray, but we shot this quickly with just some black. Just kind of set a piece of cardboard in here so no overspray gets on the hood or anything, and then just give this a quick spray. And again, we got all this in, so we're gonna go ahead and throw this thing back on. I think I am going to, just for extra security, I'm gonna pump these little holes right here. Since I have the caulking anyway, I'm gonna pump a couple of those holes full of some of the 3M adhesive. That way it can just bond to the body. I mean, it's gonna be permanent, so, but it'll help those little flimsy tabs. It'll just give them extra rigidity, especially down here where this one broke. I can kind of pump some in here and help hold that on. So we're going to do that real quick, and then we're going to throw this back on. Well, that's it, guys. Take a look at that. So overall fitment, I did not end up putting any bonding stuff on this. It's in a little far here, but the edges actually look really good. And then, like I said, this is actually, the old one used to wrap this a little bit more down here, but so you can see where the old one used to rub, but a little bit of polish that'll clean up to gray paint, but there's really no gap. Anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned some stuff. I did have to make some minor tweaks to the parking sensors. When I pulled it out, they were beeping, so I just had someone sitting there and I just moved them until the beep stopped. So hopefully they'll stay. If not, you can always turn the parking sensors off and not listen to them. So, but yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned till the next one.